Yeah, bro. I can see whenever I'm riding the bike and the wind's blowing, my gray hair is really coming in.
Dude, silver foxing it up.
Yeah, it's dope.
Dopamine.
I'm stoked.
Stoked. Stoked on the dope. Speaking of which, sup everybody and welcome to Speedballin. I'm your host, the one, the only Nico, and my co-host sitting to my left, as always, straight out of the pyramids, Pharaoh Josh. How you doing?
I'm actually doing a little bit better than pretty good.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
he said something else.
Yeah, I gotcha.
This is you did get me. You got me.
Yeah.
So why would that be?
You know, I don't know why this week, but I've just been feeling exceptionally grateful.
Good.
Yeah.
Grateful for what?
Just everything in general, you know?
Life.
Yeah, life.
Life is good. It's good that life is good.
Yeah, I mean, me and the girl didn't find a place, so I'm just gonna move in with her. But I don't know. Even though some things aren't going my way, there's a couple of extra stressors at work. They're trying to add more work onto me.
Without paying you?
Well, yeah, of course. I'm on salary, you know. so yeah. I mean, it's little small things, but that's you keep giving an inch and an inch and an inch and an inch, and eventually that becomes a mile.
Are they like micromanaging?
Huh?
Are they micromanaging?
They're starting to crack down on my boss to try and micromanage us more now that they're adding more responsibilities. But all those things aside, I don't know why, but things haven't been really going my way, and I'm still able to like reflect on it and be like, that's really not that big of a deal, and life's great.
That's a good way to look at it, because life is not always perfect just because you're sober. We're constantly reminded of that whenever life things happen, because they still happen regardless of your sobriety.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's actually that was our second topic, but that is a perfect lead into like the boundaries thing.
Yeah, setting boundaries.
Yeah, because I have those boundaries with work. Like, I mean, I'm on salary, so they pay me for 40 hours. I give them 50,
Yeah.
But anything more, like if anything more than that, if something doesn't get done, I don't stress about it. And like, I don't really worry about when, because it's going to happen. My boss is going to be like, hey, it's happened before. Did you take care of this? No, I didn't have time to do that. Yeah. I mean, you want us to do 7 hours of appointments, and then you also want us to do like 2.5, 3 hours of administrative work. It's not physically possible unless I'm working 10, 11, 12 hours a day.
Yo, where's your secretary, man?
Yeah, I don't have one of those, so some things just aren't going to get done.
Bruh. That blows.
Yeah. I mean, if they want to switch me to an hourly rate,
fine.
I feel like if they did that with my department, if they switched us to an hourly rate, a lot of our responsibilities would disappear real fast.
Mm-hmm. Because you'd be on the clock forever.
For 12 hours a day.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the clock for 13 hours
Mm-hmm.
tonight,
Mm-hmm.
which is fun.
But yeah, so I think that's one of the reasons why I don't sweat it is because I've established that boundary. I mean, I'll give you the best I absolutely can while I'm there, but I work to live. I don't live to work. That job is not my life.
Yeah, a job's just a job.
Yeah, the job supports my life. If I died, like right now, and he found out Monday, my job would be posted on Indeed by Tuesday. And, I got to keep that in mind.
That's true. Yeah, you'd just be replaced like a replacement part in a car.
Yeah, it's like the AC filter.
Yeah, exactly.
That can only take so much shit before you got to...
You're not a whole engine. You're just an AC filter.
I got to take enough shit to get replaced, Exactly like an AC filter.
Yeah. Setting boundaries with work is especially important, especially in recovery, because, a lot of people in recovery end up coming out of kitchens, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to be in recovery and still cook in a kitchen, there's still going to be degenerates snorting lines and, throwing them back like every 5 seconds. So it's like, how do you operate as a sober person when that's definitely going to happen in front of you?
Yeah, not all kitchens have that environment, but
No.
I would say a good 85% at least do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the cooks is going to have a thermos with booze in it,
Oh yeah.
and nearly everybody is going to be smoking a joint before work break, and you know, you don't know what they do when they get home, but you know, kitchen guys party hard.
Yeah, they party hard, they party late, and I feel like it's just because most of them are on the clock until 11. And then they're like, well, I still want to have that fun time after work. So,
So then they go close another bar down.
yep, that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
But setting boundaries in that kind of an environment would be like, all right, I've just got to leave when I'm done with work and not stick around.
Yeah.
That's like yep, all right, see you guys. Sorry, bye.
Yep.
That's it. Like, and that takes a lot of willpower, I feel like, especially as an addict, because you're like sitting there watching people do what you used to do and watch them have fun doing it. For me, the play the tape forward thing is really easy to
Play the tape through.
play the tape through.
Yeah.
Like that's my easiest. Like, all right, yeah, you're gonna feel like crap tomorrow. I can just see it. I'm gonna be well rested.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's also people that just they can drink, you know.
Yeah, normal people.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's just as I don't know. In a kitchen it'd be hard, but in like other work environments, like, let me think. Like, mine's fine because
Yeah, you're in recovery.
I work in recovery, so.
And mine's pretty easy too, since I do Zoom meetings, and then I go out in my, not my own car, but the company assigned car. It's my car. No one else gets in and out of it, so it's not like I find a half-smoked joint in there or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I really don't deal with anybody but customers.
Yeah. Well, what about the customers though? Do they like?
Well, I haven't walked into a pile of crack yet, like I did when I was a maintenance guy.
Okay.
But I have, I've been in plenty of places that smell like weed.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's just the thing around here, I feel like.
Yeah, with harder drugs, people hide it better.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
That's a must for harder drugs.
Yeah. I haven't seen a meth lab yet either.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, I know, right?
When you do, you gotta like describe that entire situation.
Yeah. Oh, I'm taking pictures.
That is if it doesn't blow up.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, can I get some pictures of your meth lab? Not for the police. For personal record.
For personal use. That's good. So you can set boundaries with work people. What about setting boundaries with people you socialize with, or loved ones, families, pets? No, you don't set. Well, maybe you could set boundaries with pets. I don't know how that would work, but
Well, cats set boundaries with you.
yeah,
You get 2 rubs on the belly.
and that's it.
Third one, biting.
Yeah, that's why I'm not a cat person.
Yeah.
Yeah, cats are evil.
Well, yeah, boundaries are important to set with, I even set boundaries with my recovery.
Oh, like how? Explain that.
Well, you know how you get a lot of sponsors that say you always say yes to AA?
Yeah.
Always? Yeah, well, my sponsor told me it's okay to say no.
Oh,
It's all right to say no to AA. You got to keep, keep your head about you. Like, you got to have discernment. If you can do it, then do it. But don't be canceling plans.
Yeah.
Like with like my service work, I have 2 that I constantly do service work at, my Thursday and my Saturday meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So anything outside of that, if I have plans, I'm not canceling plans. If somebody asks me to speak, if I'm free, then I'll speak. But if it's like, hey, I'm not going to take work off, I'm not going to cancel plans.
Yeah, you got to live your life still.
Yeah. But a lot of people, they don't understand that, and they think recovery has to be their life. Like, it's very a hard balancing act, because you gotta work, you gotta maintain a job so that you have the ability to have a life.
Right.
And then you also, for people like us, we have to do recovery, and constantly try to improve ourselves. We have to do that to have a life.
Yeah, it's like monitoring the mental and emotional aspects of life
Right.
at all times is
Right.
a lot of recovery.
And work, you're spending 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, if you only work 40 hours at that job. So it's a huge chunk of your life. And then your recovery, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, showing up early, leaving late, trying to do some fellowship, that kind of that's a lot of time also, but like the fellowshipping aspect and doing a little bit of service will bleed into your life. And then you have a very small window of time that I personally consider my life. So it's a very hard balancing act, and a lot of people get it confused. And then once they get it confused with, oh, I am my job and I am my recovery, then they kind of don't have boundaries in those areas, so they don't have the ability to have a happy life.
Yeah, so then they're just wallowing in their own shit again, which is a step directly towards relapse.
And the easiest way to cure a bad year? Crack.
Goodyear tires.
Crack.
Oh, crack.
I heard a guy say that in the meeting.
That's true. To make a whole year worth it, I guess.
Yeah, he's like, I was having a real bad year, and I know the perfect cure to a bad year, and that's crack. He was sharing his story.
That's a bomb right there.
Yeah.
I mean, the interesting thing with boundaries at work for me is like I have to set boundaries with patients because there's a lot of hairy gray area that we could run into. And but I deal with a lot of different situations that I could bring here and spread some knowledge via stories.
Did you turn off the automatic screensaver so we could see the time?
No. I don't know how to do that, and my dad would be mad.
Oh.
So
Well, it's been running longer than it usually does.
No, it runs for 20 minutes.
Really? I never noticed.
And that's called ADHD, folks.
Yeah, I got that.
But anyhow, I have to set boundaries with patients because I actually end up having good relationships with them because I'm awesome. No, I don't know. I do what I do, and I try my best.
Yeah.
And people, they end up, liking some of the stuff that I, preach about in recovery.
Well, you have to be real with them. You can't be a robot, or else nobody's going to want you around, and then how are you supposed to help people?
Exactly. So I'm just as real as possible.
Yeah.
And then I have to deal with the weird things that happen, one of them hadn't pooped in 2 weeks. So
I've done that.
yeah, you can relate.
Yeah.
this man split himself in half.
Yeah. I'll tell you, when it opens up, there's no feeling like it, and it's not relieving. I'll tell you that.
No, you got some healing to do after that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that South Park episode where Randy takes the biggest dump.
Yeah, and it's Bono.
Because Bono's the real POS.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So but then I have to help out with that stuff, and I'm like, I don't know how I can not remember you.
Yeah. You're always gonna you see that guy in the streets, and you're gonna see that guy and be like, that guy took the biggest dump I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was the most impressive shit I've ever seen
in person
in my life.
I mean, that there are Guinness Book of Record poops out there somewhere, but that guy holds the record in your heart.
Exactly. I'm like, if you're stocked up for 2 weeks, I mean, it's gonna be an event.
Yeah.
It's like dropping a bomb.
Yeah, and especially when you're dope sick off fentanyl, you're not drinking much water.
Oh yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
That and the funniest part about that was when it was clogged and I'd given up the fight. His roommate walked in and he goes, "Wow, that is a smell."
Yeah.
It's like, yes, it is.
Well, I mean, it's decomposing in your system for 2 straight weeks.
I mean, I did what I could, man.
Well, to be fair, it's probably closer to a week and a half, because about half of that first week is he's making the poop.
Yeah, he's actually putting stuff back in his system.
Yeah, he's brewing.
It's the witch's brew.
Oh.
Double trouble, poopy in trouble.
I'll tell you what, man, whenever that happened to me, I went and told the nurse, And she goes, "Oh my God, it's been 14 days?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Why didn't you come to me like last week?" I was like, "Oh, well, I haven't eaten in like 12 days." So I didn't think that, I didn't think that was that big of a problem. Nothing going in, nothing coming out, you know?
Yeah,
And
that's
she's
logical.
like, she goes, "That's not how it works." She goes, "Even if you're not eating, your body will break down stuff and
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and it'll still produce waste."
I gotta say, that's one of my favorite things to be able to say to people at work is, yeah, that's not how it works. Like, they'll be like, well, I should get this and I should get that, or I think I can do it this way. And I go, yeah, that's not how it works. So no.
Not how it works.
Yeah.
I
Try
learned-
again.
I learned how it works real quick. Yeah, because she gave me like double the amount of stool softener and then 2 magnesium citrates, right? And I didn't know what I was in for. She goes, "Yeah, this is one of 2 things is going to happen. It's either coming out or we're taking you to the hospital." That was one of the 3 times that I almost got hospitaled.
Wow.
Yeah, while I was in rehab. But I was like, "Oh man." I was like, "Well, I don't know. It's like it might not come out, you know?" She's like, "Baby, you have basically been prepped for a colonoscopy. It's coming out." And she was right. And I like woke up at 2 a.m., ran to the bathroom, and I was sweating. I was just pouring sweat, and I couldn't tell if it was because of the methadone withdrawal.
No, well.
Or that. Either way.
Yeah, either way, it's not a fun ride.
Yeah, it's a memorable experience. Most people call that traumatic. Trauma is just bad memories, all right?
Well, this trauma has to do with pooping, so it's
Yeah.
extra funny.
Yeah. Now it's like, I don't
Dude,
know.
when Robbie's making this promo, he's going to have such a freaking field day with it. Like, the first 12 minutes, we're just, like, serious. Then we got right into the, just talking about taking a dump.
Yeah. No, I did the first promo he made where I'm just, like, looking off. Mine's Dragon Tales. I was like, my dog.
Like, out of nowhere. I love the no context, too.
Yeah.
That was great. Robbie, you're doing great. We love you, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the story that I've been dealing with for the past week. And our night person got had to no longer work with us.
Yeah.
So we've been covering all those shifts. So my sleep schedule's all over the place. But man, that paycheck gonna be fat.
Yeah. Oh, so you're getting some overtime.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, because that would be one of my boundaries if I was in your work, where they're like, "Hey, listen, somebody called out, or somebody no longer is with us."
See, the funny thing is, like, we'll say that at work. I'm like, they didn't die. Like,
They could have.
it sounds like they died. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, they just don't work here anymore.
Yeah. They work somewhere though.
Hopefully.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, and they were like, "We need you to cover overnight shifts." I'd be like, "Well, is this overtime?" And
yeah.
if they say no, you get 1 or 2, and then after that, I can't rearrange my entire life for a job.
Yeah. Like, the first time it wasn't overtime. Every time since on overnights, it's been OT.
Good.
So,
But yeah, you have to. That's another thing that you have to set boundaries with. You have to be like, "Hey, listen, if I'm all over the place and I'm not getting paid extra for it, I'm gonna start harboring a resentment towards you guys, and that's not good for me."
yeah, no, I'm getting paid. So I'm like, yo, that's what's up.
Yeah.
I'm super happy with it. Although not looking forward to doing 13 hours, but you know what? I'll live and I'll have a fat paycheck for it.
Yeah.
So, that's what I have to look forward to. Yay. All right. Anyways, that's enough about boundaries. Let's set a boundary right here.
On the boundaries.
On the boundaries. On the wall. And let's move into behaviors and addiction. So behavior and addiction came up because of Charlie, right?
Yeah, yeah. He came down.
Yeah.
I wanted to have him on the podcast, but he whatchamacallit, he came into Daytona yesterday, and he was supposed to have a car available to him so that he could do transportation, you know, and he doesn't have that car, so he's, he still came up yesterday for Saturday Night Live. Yeah, he came up for my home group, so him and his brother Brandon.
I would have gone to that if I didn't work at 6.
Yeah. But he came up, and I was like, yeah, come up for the meeting, and then we go out to dinner afterwards every Saturday. And he's like, oh, okay. And they came up, and I was just like, he still has all these same behaviors that I know, like I don't know what it is, but he always looks like he's up to something.
Looking suspicious.
He just looks real suspicious, yeah. And he had some girl meet us at the restaurant. Yeah. It was funny. I met her a couple of times, and she didn't recognize me at all. Like because we were all sitting there already, and she pokes her head in and looks around, and I seen her, and I waved at her. I was like, oh, hey, what's up? And she's like, gives me the look, like who is this guy? And then like the no wave back, but hand up, kind of like, okay, yeah, all right. Mm-hmm. And I was like, are you going to come sit down? And then she was like, is that Josh? I was like, yeah. I was like, how's it been? I haven't seen you in years. I was like, oh, yeah, you've never seen me without a really long beard and hair down to my waist.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Looking like a true homeless person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was looking real scummy.
Yeah, that's funny. Like, it's funny to me because the behaviors cause your environment to be, like, crappy. Mm-hmm. Like, you could even live in like a nice house or apartment, and then you could just it can end up destroyed with trash and grossness all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that's how my apartment was, and I've seen other addicts' houses, and I'm like, whoa, I remember this.
Yep.
So like that behavior it's like your behavior causes what environment you're currently in, which is interesting.
Yeah, and not only that, but a lot of the behavior that you develop are all like coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms, Mm-hmm. Like, whatchamacallit, like living in absolute squalor.
Yeah. That's not taking the trash out.
Yeah, that's more of a coping mechanism. Now you just, you know what? It's just kind of gross now.
Yeah.
You just accept things for the way you are, and then when you accept that, you kind of clean up a little bit less, and then your house gets dirtier. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, that's gross, and then you clean up a little bit less.
Mm-hmm. So. And then bugs.
Yeah. Yep. And then you get bugs, and then
you have to call Josh.
And then you call me, and I'm just like, yo, we need to put a tent on this house
immediately.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. But yeah, Charlie's behaviors though. What is it? Just the suspicion thing?
Well, the being suspicious and then womanizing.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, he's juggling 2 or 3 girls up there, and then he has girls down here that he's talking to, and it's like his first night in Daytona. He leaves Daytona, comes up to a meeting, goes out to dinner instead, and then he has somebody meet him there. And then his brother came with him. His brother drove up there. And it's an hour and 20 minutes from their house. Mm-hmm. And he leaves with that girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, the extreme self-centeredness and extreme selfishness. Like, we're all here for Charlie.
Yeah. Charlie's here for Charlie, too.
Yeah. Yeah. And manipulation. Like he got Brandon to take him all the way up here and then leaves with some girl.
So, yeah, thanks for thanks for the delivery.
Yeah.
To the. Yeah.
Yeah. But see, and it's like all of these things, I don't think he consciously does them anymore. You know?
No, it's just so engraved.
Yeah. He's not like planning it out. Okay, well, I'm going to get this girl to meet me here. I'm going to get my brother to take me up there. And I told him I'd buy him dinner. And I'm going to get Josh to buy me dinner.
There you go.
Boom.
Bam.
No, it all just kind of works out that way because that's how he is, you know?
That's true. That's true. I mean, people just don't. It's interesting because when I'm sitting in the groups and stuff, you have to point out those behaviors when they come up. And in order to provoke those behaviors, you got to poke a little. So when you poke a little, things don't get friendly. Things get fiery real quick.
Oh, I bet.
It's quite fun. Well, it's quite fun because for me, because I'm like, all right, it's like arguing with a child. Like, you know, oh, well, I'm not getting what I want, so I'm pissed off. And I'm like, why are you pissed off about this one little thing? Let's see why we're here again. Recovery, right? But it's the snacks that matter. Like,
It is, though.
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Exactly. But it's just so easy to point out. And then they get mad at me. I'm like, but you don't see that? Like, you don't understand. Like, it's blatantly right in front of you, and you just don't want to fix it. You know, it's funny. I was talking to someone last night, and he was telling me a bunch of stuff, you know, about like not like confiding in me, but he's like, oh, I've got all these problems, and I just don't want to deal with them. And I was like, okay,
That's real.
I was like, that's real, yeah,
Yeah.
like totally. I totally understand that, but I'm like, do you think that your life would be better if you did deal with them? And he was like, oh yeah, probably, but I don't want to. And I'm like, okay,
True.
what's I'm like, it sounds like you have all the answers, you just don't want to execute. Like, you know what you're doing so consciously. Like, an addict would at least be in somewhat of denial. So this guy's not in denial.
He's on the right track, tells me.
Yeah,
He's on the right track.
He's on the right track. I'm like, something has to push him to actually deal with the things he needs to deal with. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that.
Well, I heard an old timer in NA years ago. He said when the fear of change outweighs the pain of being the same, change will occur.
Yes.
Or it's the opposite. When the pain of staying the same outweighs the fear of change, the change will occur.
And that's what we talk about all the time in the facility is, what do we fear more, change or the disease?
Yeah.
And a lot of times people will select change.
Yeah.
I mean, the obvious answer is the disease, like, duh. But
I don't know. At least with the disease, you know what you're going to get. Cruel
something that's
alcoholic
going to kill
death.
you. Something that's going to kill you.
Yeah,
That's at the end of the day, jails, institutions, and death.
Yeah, that's what they
That's
say.
NA.
Yeah.
But yeah,
From my favorite reading, we do recover.
we do recover. That's right.
That's a good news, you know? That's the good news one.
Exactly. So, yeah, they'll choose change. They fear the change more, and I'm like, but change is good. Like, who told you change was bad?
Probably past experiences.
Yeah, some change is bad. I will say that much.
Lots of change is bad.
There's good change and bad change, but there's a lot more bad change. Or no, there's a lot more good in change if you are aimed in the right direction, really.
Yeah.
Like, if your intentions or your life's direction is corrected, then change in that direction is usually good, even if it's painful.
I think that's why a lot of times they tell you to focus on the day, you know, 24
One day
hours.
at a time, yeah.
Take it one day at a time. Because when you're looking too far in the future, that fear of the change will come up. But if you're just focused on doing the right thing right here, right now, you know, you're literally changing your behaviors.
Yes, exactly.
For a better direction. A better direction is the only way that you go.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. See, the interesting thing to me is the future tripping part right there. Like, I blow people's minds with this all the time. I'm not going to blow your mind because you already know this, but like, future tripping causes anxiety, right?
Yeah.
And then if you're dwelling on the past, that's just depression. So
Yep.
you have anxiety and depression. They're both not living in the now.
Yep.
So you've got the future tripping and then the past depressing, and neither of them are good for you. So if you find yourself doing either of those things, it's like, all right, pause. Why is this happening?
Yes.
Brent, let me come back to the now. There's a couple of different things you can do, from meditation to breathing to praying to, recenter yourself out of the future, out of the past.
Well, there's I don't know if you ever read this book called The Power of Now.
No.
Yeah, no, there's a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and like you basically have almost recited a piece of that book, because what he says is that all negative emotions are rooted in either the future or they're rooted in the past.
Yes.
Like anxiety, worry,
Fear.
yeah, fear.
Fear, shame, guilt, anxiety, remorse.
Yeah, well, shame, guilt, and remorse and depression are all rooted in the past.
Right.
Yeah, and then like fear, worry, anxiety, those are all rooted in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like, oh, as soon as you start feeling negative, right, in any way, you hit that pause button, and like for a little while, I was able to do it, like where I'm like, I just would look around, like, well, I'm in no immediate danger,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these problems are things that I've created in my head and most likely won't happen, And as you like bring yourself to the present moment and you focus on today or right here, right now, generally you don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah. What's funny is like I did that a lot more in addiction than I did now, or than I do now. But now I feel like I don't have either of those things. Like I'm like, all right, I understand I can't control the past or the future.
Yeah.
And I understand that if I just get my shit done, then things will be fine. Like the weirdest things about, worry and anxiety and depression, it's like, first of all, with the depression, thinking about the past stuff, it's like, well, it already happened. You can't do anything about it. Why?
Yeah. Look for the lesson and move on.
Learn from it, move on. And then with the anxiety, it's like, I say, I don't know what's going to happen, so why try guessing?
Yeah. I call it creating problems in my head that don't exist yet.
For the classic overthinker.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm creating problems in my head that may never come to pass. I'll just not worry about it right this second.
Fruition.
Yes.
Fruituition. Fruit.
But yeah, so
I just had a brain fart. But speaking of which, so when it comes to behaviors and pausing and all these different tools that we've learned, where do we learn them usually? A lot of times they're in rehab facilities.
Mm-hmm.
So different rehab facilities have different philosophies on how to recover. I'm a huge fan of mine. I can't speak at the name or anything, but like ours is amazing because it's intensive group therapy and calling out self-centered behavior and manipulative behavior, like any of the poor behaviors.
So yours is more like behaviorally based.
Super.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like they poke at you, and then it's like, well, why did you do this? Oh, well, why are you blaming this person? Oh, what? And then like they call you out on everything you're doing.
Yeah.
I've really had no experience with other rehab facilities. So
I've gone to 3 different ones.
All right. So did they all have the same
No.
message? No. Okay.
No.
All right.
One of them, the first one that I ever went to, that one was a really good one, but that was more like a healing based one where they focus on like your traumas, and then they dig up the reasons that you do the things that you do. So it's kind of more like trauma healing and behavioral at the same time, but they got also a lot of science behind it. They got the thing where they scan your brain and then they'll put little electromagnets on it where your brain's kind of like not firing well, and then they'll they hit you with a
Little zap.
but you can't feel it. It's such low voltage that you have no idea it's going on, and then they stimulate that part of the brain to light it back up. So yeah, that one was a really good one. That's where I took the 14-day dump. But yeah, then I went to
I think that should be the title of this episode, the 14-day dump.
that's a reoccurring theme here. But and then I went to another one that was a state-run facility, and
I'm going to guess negative experience.
very negative experience. I don't know. It's 5 stars. Highly recommend.
The government, how did I know?
Yeah. But theirs was literally just a 5-day detox where you this is my experience all 3 times I went there 3 times in 1 month. That's how great of a place it was. So
Pro over here.
yeah. Well, because with opiate withdrawal, it lasts more than 5 days. So I'd get out, use, go right back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went there twice and then died for a few minutes and then went back a 3rd time. So
Learning things the hard way, folks.
yes, yeah. So their approach was intake process, med line, sweat it out.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And if you made too big of a fuss, you got hit with some kind of an injection, and then they brought you over to the other side of the building, which was the state-run psych ward.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was their approach to it.
Very, very, very...
Very hands-off.
yeah, hands off. Low effort.
Yes. Yeah. And then the last one I went to was the one over on US 1 over there, and theirs was more of a behaviorally based one, where it's like they really didn't, they had one lady that would talk about traumas with you, but it was very they were also they got a lot of state funding, so you couldn't smoke cigarettes in there. Yeah, but
That's the funniest thing whenever my patients start to bitch and moan about stuff. I'm like, yeah, you like that vape, don't you?
Yeah.
Go to a state-run facility. You're not allowed to smoke anything.
No, not only that, but the one that I went to 3 times was you got the same food as they did in the county jail, because it was literally like the county jail's old psychiatric ward shut down.
Good Lord.
Yeah, they even still had the same scrubs, recycled.
Oh,
Classy.
very.
So yeah, this last one though, it was more personalized. Like if you were the type of person that just couldn't deal with your past traumas, they had a therapist there that would talk to you about that. If you were the type of person that just needed to unlearn certain behaviors, they had multiple courses, and
So they had some options.
yeah, they had options. So, and then
Now, how many beds do these places have?
the first one that I went to had 30 beds, but it was 5 for each gender was detox, or no, 7 for each gender was detox.
Mm-hmm.
And then
So that's pretty much a split.
yeah, and then 8 for each gender was
Residential.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the state run probably had a ton.
Oh yeah, they had 30 beds, but it was all detox.
Jeez.
Yeah, turn them and burn them.
Yeah, just turn and burn them, baby.
Bring in the alcoholics, jam some Ativan down their throat, let them out 3 to 5 days later, and bring them back next week.
That's what's up. But then the third one?
The third one was it was split. It was 30 beds, same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and the residential side was once you got into that, they gave you your own clothes and stuff like that, and there was a lot of groups and stuff like that. But yeah, it was more behaviorally based. And then the other one, the other local one, the one I didn't go to, that a lot of our friends work at, that one's they basically focus on the AA program.
Oh, so they just run it out of that entire book.
Yeah, they basically run their program out of the book. It's a 4-month program, and they make the residents do the AA 12 steps. And that one, honestly, it's that one.
Okay.
Yeah. They have the highest success rate out of any of them that I've seen. It's just, I mean, it's either that or they're doing something else that I'm not sure of. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they've got like a decent therapy program, I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I know someone who used to work there, and like the way they put it was like they were doing a lot of the same stuff that we do, but on a larger scale, just a little bit, and like with a different execution and practice.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, as far as different philosophies and different rehabs are concerned, like I feel like what we do works.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that one that you just described works, but the other two are like, yeah, they're like more detox based.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, like the one that was more trauma healing and stuff like that. They had equine therapy like once a week. You get to go. Horses stink.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's
Well, and then there's other like
that one works too, but
there's
I mean,
other facilities too that instead of having an actual recovery attempt, it's just like a friggin' vacation because there's pools and massage therapists and all this other like going to Malibu or something.
oh yeah, there was a massage therapist at that first one too. I had really good insurance.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, geez.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I feel like those ones are not as conducive to recovery because it's like, oh yes, I get to take a mini vacation,
Yeah.
and so I'm going to go back out, use, and then go back to my vacation. Like that's just
Yeah, some people develop that mindset.
it's like welfare.
Yeah. The ones that have all of those different basically, you know, the pools, the outings every day and all of that, the very expensive rehabs that are like a vacation, I feel like that's more of an avoidance. You're not actually you're going there to just try and sweat it out and then have a good time so you can avoid and remember the good times of rehab, you know?
I've only had one instance where someone came in for only like 10 days for a detox and then left.
Yeah.
And usually the excuse is the job or something, but like I always worry for those ones because I'm like, you just
I understand that excuse too.
I get it too, but it's like you could get healthy now and never have to deal with this again, or you know you can go try it yourself. Just go to AA meetings until you stop going again, and then end up back in the facility later in life. Because it's like I don't get me wrong, everyone can run. You can run your own program. You can do whatever.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, that doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, my program really started working once I was willing to let go.
That's the thing.
You know, like I
Surrender.
I lived in the same place for 11 years, had a dog, the same roommate for 11 years. And like, I had all these responsibilities and stuff like that. And then once I was willing, like I got to the point where I was like, if I lived under a bridge right now, but I didn't have to do fentanyl to not be sick, then I'd be pretty happy with that bridge. And then once I got to that point, it was like, well, you know what? None of this really matters if I'm miserable because I believe in Magic Sky Wizard Jesus, or I 100% would have shot myself. But since I have to survive,
you wouldn't enjoy purgatory.
no, and since I have to survive, I'm going to just go on ahead and let go all of this. That's when I really started my recovery process. And that's why I say I've only had one real relapse. All the other times I was just...
You were just using it.
Yeah, I was just
taking advantage of the system.
Take a couple days off, be sick,
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Magic Sky, that's funny. I said a prayer out loud in an NA meeting recently because I was just feeling it. Holy Spirit was in the room. But I said the Fatima prayer. It was the, "Oh my Jesus, forgive us our sins, save us from the fires of hell, and lead all souls to heaven, especially those in need of thy mercy." And one of the patients was like, "Can I have that prayer?" I was like, "Why?"
No, it's mine.
Like, sure, here you go, but I don't think you're Catholic.
Yeah, you don't need to be Catholic for that.
Yeah, I know. Anything to help people pray, honestly.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was funny. Let me check our time.
No, that's Catholics only, ma'am. Or sir. I don't know. You didn't even tell me who it was. Oh, it was a ma'am? I was going to say, it sounds like a very ma'am thing to ask.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've got ourselves a good show.
Oh, really? What time are we at?
45.
Really?
Yeah, we spent some decent time on that.
I told you, man, it always flows better when we get like the
All it takes is like 3 lines.
yeah, it's 3 topics and somehow we're able to BS in the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly. Without pausing.
Yeah, because
Like
I felt
last
like
week.
like that last one, I was like all out of whack. I'm like, I don't feel like this is a good show.
It actually was fine, but
It was.
yeah,
I just didn't feel good about it.
yeah, I think
And-
it was just a feeling.
That's a great example how your feelings aren't necessarily reality.
That's true. That's true. How you feel is not how things are. I.e., F your feelings. Thank you for listening to Speedballin. I am the great and powerful Nico alongside Pharaoh Josh. Today's word of the day is world.
Well, there's a globe there, but I didn't see where you saw world. Oh, World Series. There it is. There it is. I feel like every time you do a word of the day, it's almost like a Where's Waldo for me for the next 10 seconds. Like I'm looking for where you see that word of the day at.